So we have an hour. So what we'll do is we'll have some discussion. I'd like to hear from you. I'll talk to you some about Zen and Zen meditation, meditating, a little more discussion, and you'll be surprised how fast an hour will go. So I'd like to see a show of hands. Who has a meditation practice in here? You meditate regularly, irregularly? Okay, who doesn't meditate at all? Okay, want to start tonight? Okay,
Sure.
okay. Okay, great. Okay, the thing about meditation, as I started to tell you, those of you who came in early, you can meditate anytime, any place. I personally love Zen because it's silence and it's stillness. So for me, my favorite place to meditate is like in here when there's no one else here. It's quiet and it just feels like something is just enveloping me. It feels lovely. However, you can get lulled into a sense of dreaminess and then a sound will come and remind you, oh, I'm supposed to be meditating. So that can be helpful. So I wanted to hear a little bit from you guys about your meditation. These guys went on a 5-day meditation retreat. Will you tell them a little bit about it? Just briefly, what was it like for you?
Yeah, so we went to Deer Park Monastery, which is a monastery in the Plum Village tradition of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. And so the way that they practice up there, normally you get up in the morning, you do a seated meditation for about 45 minutes. They do a lot of walking meditation. And then, we do a working meditation. So much like Robin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like Robin was saying, you can kind of meditate doing anything. And that's sort of the way that they teach it there. And then there would be like a Dharma talk, and then in the evening, if you have another time to meditate. But then they also do like eating meditations at every meal. So like everything is an opportunity to practice.
Have you ever tried just eating, like eating in silence? It's a whole different thing. You probably did that there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they observe a lot of noble silence.
Right. And as I've mentioned here before, try doing just one thing sometime. Like if you're driving, just drive. Turn off the radio, focus on what you're doing, feel the steering wheel in your hands. And what we're going for is present moment awareness, which sounds kind of like a fancy thing, but it just means be present where you are. Be fully present. Don't have your mind off several different places. Then you get to your destination, you have no memory of what was happening. So what we're shooting for is present moment awareness, knowing what's going on right now. So when we were waiting to start, and I suggested to those of you who came early, and thank you for coming early, is that we use that time to meditate. So just focusing on feeling your breath, hearing any sounds. And what I meant by sensation is any sensation you feel. You might have a stomach ache. You might feel your hands on your lap. You might, whatever it might be, you might feel a breeze going by. So those are your 3 anchors of what's actually happening now. Breath, sound, sensation. Anything else is just imaginings and ruminations and your mind just secreting thoughts. So when you meditate, let that be an opportunity for your mind to rest and just be in the now. So that's kind of what we go for. So who else has a meditation practice that wants to tell us a little bit about it? I know you do, right? Can you tell us about it?
I usually do, like, if I can, like 25 minutes in the morning, maybe 25 in the afternoon or at night. That's what I usually do.
Yeah.
I try to do 2 sessions.
Good for you. Anybody else? Yes.
I do sun gazing, 30 minutes before sunset.
Uh-huh.
And
okay.
Just grounding and being present with nature.
Okay. Great. Anybody else have a meditation practice they want to share a little bit about? Okay. What makes Zen different from other meditation is exactly what I mentioned, the silence and the stillness. So if anybody was here last Monday, when the sensei from the Hidden Valley Zen Center was here, was anybody here? So she spent a really good long time talking about how to meditate. I mean, she had basically a 3-part message. It was, you should meditate. Here's how to do it. Here's why it's important. And then the last part was try to meditate with other people. Some people have a hard time meditating with other people. They find it too distracting. Some people prefer to meditate by themselves and vice versa. I particularly like to meditate with a group, even if it's just me and one other person. So you probably heard me say I come here in the mornings at 8, and many times it's just me, maybe 1 or 2 other people, and the person who's ringing the bell. There's something about that group effort. It's like, somebody mentioned it when Jeff was talking on Saturday, not really peer pressure, but kind of everyone else is around me is meditating, so I might as well just do it, you know. You can daydream the whole time. No one's gonna know what you're doing, okay? But here's an opportunity, you could just try it, okay? And the thing about Zen that some people, they say, oh, there's so many rules, you have to sit perfectly still, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. It's not for everyone, I'll be the first one to say that. But once you can surrender to it, once you can surrender to, okay, from when she rings the bell to when the bell rings at the end, I surrender. I'm going to commit to a posture. I'm going to be as still as I can, and I'm going to follow the instructions. And then the bell rings. Then you can go back to all your mental chatter. You can wiggle around. So it's an opportunity to do something that's a little different. Okay. Usually when I lead this, I'll ring the bell 3 times to start and 2 times to end. That's just the way I've done it for years. When we end the meditation, I tend to do a little bow, and we're just bowing together if you would like to join me in sort of acknowledging that we just did something special. It's pretty special. People don't do this, okay? So that's how that goes, okay? Posture. It's important that you be sitting up straight, okay? I like to put a cushion behind my back. It helps me to sit up straight. So there's that. Commit to your posture. Whatever way that you choose, say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna sit as still as I can until the bell rings. If you're sitting in a chair, if you can have both feet on the floor, that's helpful. It's more of a grounded position, okay? Your hands can be wherever you like. They can be on your legs, they can be in your lap. Some people like to hold their hands like this in the cosmic mudra. Whatever way works for you, commit to it. Just be in that position. Now, of course, if something is hurting and you have to move gently and quietly, okay? As any of you know who've sat in these chairs, when you move, they make a little bit of noise, okay? So everyone's gonna hear you. But just commit to it as best you can, okay? Your eyes, the recommendation that we give with Zen meditation, and Jeff will sometimes talk about this, is you have your eyes halfway closed. If your eyes are all the way closed, you can kind of get into a dreamier state, and you can also be more likely to fall asleep. If your eyes are all the way open, you can be distracted by the people around you. I have done open-eyed meditation before. I'd be looking at a floor, and suddenly I'm seeing things at the floor that really aren't there, because your mind will play tricks on you. So halfway is a good way, okay? When you're meditating, what are you gonna do with your mind? So pick what you'd like to do. What I've been suggesting lately is a 3-point awareness, what we just did for a little while ago: breath, sound, and sensation. So just those 3 things. You can do them in order. You can say to yourself, breath, sound, sensation. You can just have the whole experience of breath, sound, sensation. Just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. Your mind will interrupt you countless times. Bring it back to the meditation, okay? So has everybody figured out what they're gonna do and how they're gonna sit, and they're gonna commit to their posture? Everybody ready? All right, we'll get started. Any questions before we start? If you could stretch or wiggle around, that would be a good time. So I'd like to hear from you. Who would share what that was like for them? Did you feel, was your mind restless? Did you want to wiggle around? What was going on for you? Was it hard? Was it easy? Who's willing to share? How about you?
Me?
Yes, you. Who would like?
Sure. Joseph.
Joseph, thank you.
It just seemed like right when you said that when you sit still, it's like I had 1,000 inches all over my body for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just the thought of I couldn't move, but I don't know, I don't meditate much, so I was kind of like, are my eyes half open or half closed? And I kept thinking about that for some reason, I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But I got into it. I know this may sound weird, but it felt like my body was heavier for some reason.
You thought it was heavy?
Yeah,
Okay.
heavier.
Yeah. Okay. So we could say that maybe we could say you felt more grounded. Please know, you said you don't meditate much, and I think you said this was your first time. It's harder in the beginning, okay? Your mind doesn't want to do this. It wants to be off doing other things. Your body doesn't want to sit still. It's going to rebel. I've had the experience of years back when I used to sit on a cushion, I would be sitting and I would notice that my entire leg had gone numb from my butt to my toes. And I'm like, it's going to be really challenging to stand up, you know? So, I mean, sometimes that will happen. But on a symbolic level, can I tolerate a little discomfort? So, like, what would happen if I didn't scratch my nose when it was itching?
I didn't.
Right, then you survived, right?
Yeah.
So symbolically, that kind of shows you, like, can you get through your life with some minor discomfort and still be present with it? You can think, oh, my nose is itching. Okay, my nose is itching. Okay, my nose is itching. And eventually it's going to stop itching, right? So it's the same kind of a thing. So what we're doing with our bodies, we're kind of training our minds and our bodies at the same time. So that makes sense. Yeah. Who else? I'm going to call on you. Yes. Mike.
I was thinking about speaking up and so I was sitting here, it was nice, enjoyable, my mind would wander, come back to my breath and the sensations. But I've noticed, I've been meditating a couple of years. I usually in the morning, I look at it, around my back there's like this tightness.
Right.
And recently, like the last couple of weeks, I started noticing if my body would just move a little bit and I get like a little pop out of it and release. So I'm not like scratching.
Right.
And then I also noticed I tended to, I don't think you even noticed that you were looking at me. I also tend to rock a little bit, you know? And
There's
I
something to
think
do.
I was going to say, but it's comforting and it helps.
Yeah.
But I assume there's a reason not to do those things.
Well, you know, like I was saying, there's a couple reasons, but knowing that, you know, you're going to do what's going to help you to be able to sit. And when I say sit, I mean meditate. And when we're sitting in this Zen style, we call it Zazen. Okay, so we talk about silence and stillness. Okay, so I'm not going to be reminding you, where's your mind? Follow your breath. I'm not going to say any of that. That's all going to be on you. So you're going to be responsible for your experience, for how you're sitting, are you counting your breaths? And that's one thing I neglected to mention. It can be helpful, especially when you're beginning to meditate, to actually count your breaths. So you can get the self-discipline of just doing that one thing. So breath in, breath out, 1. Breath in, breath out, 2. And I'll tell you, it's pretty much impossible to get to 10, but that's the goal, if there is a goal, okay? So you may want to try that. I was thinking about you, thinking, oh, I should have said that to him. Because some people find the 3-point awareness is just too much. It's too much going on. And you can look at it any way that you want. You know, a concentration practice is a concentration practice. So you're training your mind by focusing on one thing, on the breath. So, but you're not paying attention to sounds and you're not kind of being in your life in a bigger sense. But you can still do the breath counting, and then once you got that down for a while, you can notice, oh, I'm feeling a breeze. I'm like right now as I'm talking to you, I feel a light breeze on my arms, you know. And there's a background sound. So you can open yourself to greater awareness, okay? So there's nothing wrong with a concentration practice. And especially if let's say you've been doing 3-point awareness for a while and like you sit down to meditate and your mind is just all over the place. You just cannot do breath, sound, sensation. Just count the breaths. Okay, that will be helpful. Okay, who else? The lady in the back of the blue?
Yeah, so I've been meditating for a while, and usually I use the Headspace app, so the completely silent meditation is a little newer.
Okay.
But I had a question about when you say the 3-point, are you alternating between the three or any one of the three?
That's a good question. It's suggested when you first start, you're doing a 3-part, so breath, sound, sensation. And then after you kind of get that down for a while and you're settled in it, you can just have the sensation of all 3 at the same time. Okay? So as you're breathing, you're also noticing sound and you're also feeling whatever you're feeling without saying any words. Sometimes people feel it's too wordy, so they don't like to do it that way. Okay? And there's nothing wrong, like I said before, with just following your breath. That's hard enough to do, right? And I'm asking you to do 2 more things, so how hard do I want to make it for you? But you choose, and like I said, you're responsible for your own experience. When you're meditating, you can be daydreaming the whole time. You can totally blow this whole thing off, you know. I'm not gonna know, no one around you's gonna know, but you're gonna know. So it's your practice. So for this opportunity, use it as an opportunity to sort of train your mind to just take a chill pill for a while. You know, just like, you don't have to be thinking all these things, just be like breath, sound, sensation. After a while, I will tell you, the more you do this, it becomes easier and you'll feel calmer in your life in general. You'll also notice things that maybe you didn't notice before, which is maybe the downside, but maybe not. You're getting to know yourself better. So I wanted to mention something about sensation. So you could be going along, doing your meditation, and then you notice like you have like an uncomfortable sensation, maybe in your chest or your belly, and you can bring your attention there and just breathe in there. You may have some stored emotion in there from something that happened earlier in the day that is reaching out for some attention. You don't have to analyze it. What is that? Why am I feeling this way? But just bring it some love, bring it some awareness. Okay, you're gonna find, if you decide to continue along this path of self-awareness and self-discipline, that you're gonna get to know yourself better. You will be like, let's say somebody will be having a conversation with you and they'll say something that really kind of annoys you. But you're being a good Buddhist, so you're not gonna like let yourself get ticked off, but you feel a little, right? You'll notice it and oh, I better look at that later, okay? So you'll have greater awareness is what I'm wanting to say. So those of you who have meditated for a while, would you say that's true? Yeah, I have one head nodder, thank you. And it can be hard. And I always find when I'm doing 2 meditations, because we're gonna sit again for a while, that the second one is always easier because I've already kind of gotten into it and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I got my plan, how I'm gonna sit, how I'm gonna hold my hands, what I'm gonna do with my eyes, and what method I'm gonna choose, and then you just drop right into it, okay? Was anybody feeling like, oh my God, when is she gonna ring the bell? Did it seem really long to anybody, or you did? Oh boy, this is your first time, so I'm not surprised.
Well,
First time here, okay, yeah, and that can happen. I've shared this, I've had the experience of being on a retreat before, and you could just swear that the timekeeper had fallen asleep at the bell, like, why is he not ringing the bell? Did he fall asleep? And you know, I suppose they could fall asleep, but I promise you I won't fall asleep on you, okay? So you sat for 20 minutes, in case you're wondering, yes?
I do have a question. I found it kind of hard what you said about the eyes.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to, like, do that half eye space.
Okay,
Do you have any recommendations? It's
So-
either open or closed for me, like.
okay, so what have you done in the past?
Close my eyes.
Closed, and it doesn't make you fall asleep or get into a dreamy state?
I probably do get into a dream state,
Uh-huh.
but
Okay.
it's,
What you could do is you could try a little of both and see how it works for you. Like, let's say your default is eyes closed. And you're following your breath and you're going along good, and then you suddenly notice that you're daydreaming and maybe falling asleep, then you can open your eyes a little bit, okay? So you might wanna try that. Bottom line is you wanna pick something that's gonna work for you, okay? And that has to do with the eyes, with the posture, with the breathing, with your method. Before I realized that I couldn't sit on a cushion anymore because it was too painful for me, I was really struggling with pain in my knees, my hips, my back. And then I realized I wasn't really meditating. I was just waiting for the bell to ring because I was so uncomfortable. So you want to be somewhat comfortable, but be able to tolerate some uncomfortable feelings. Okay, so you may want to try that. Try doing your default, because you don't want to make it so hard for yourself that you can't meditate. Like, well, she says I have to have my eyes half open and it's really hard for me. Then you're not going to want to meditate. So close your eyes, but be honest with yourself, because you're the only one in there who's going to know what's going on. That, gee, I'm getting real sleepy. I think I'm just going to daydream for a while. And daydreaming and thinking can be so seductive. You can know you're doing it. You'll be meditating and you're like, start thinking about something and be like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking, I should be meditating. I just want to think a little bit longer. Like, really? We're here to meditate, So it's just about cultivating self-discipline, honesty with yourself, those kinds of things. So like I said, it's all on you when I ring the bell again. So just think about how you're going to sit, how you're going to hold your hands, how you're going to position your eyes, and what are you going to do with your mind. So for you may want to just count the breaths in, out, 1, in, out, 2. Okay, like that. See if you can get to 10. Bet you can. You might. And then for the 3-point awareness, if that works for you, great. If it doesn't, don't do it. Maybe 2-point awareness is good, just breath and sounds. Nothing wrong with that. The main focus is off of the thoughts and onto what's really happening. What's really happening? You're breathing and you're hearing things. Okay, that's what's really happening. Okay, let's try that again. Everybody all set? Got all your wiggles out? Okay. right, so who found the second sitting to be easier than the first? Yeah. Anybody found it harder because you're getting more restless, ready to go? Okay, just honest reflections. How did you do with your eyes? What did you decide to do?
So it's funny because I said, oh, it's hard, and then I found it easy.
There you go.
But they still had a tendency to.
Yeah, so you'll work that out, and the more you get used to it, the more you'll figure it out. If you have the opportunity and you like sitting in silence like this, and if you're able to come in the morning, there's an 8 o'clock and an 8:30 sitting. They're 25 minutes each with a 5-minute break. You can do both or one, and then also at 12 and 12:30. You might want to check that out. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for sharing your practice. And before you go, our hostess in the back, Vicki, has some announcements for us.
Hi everyone, I'm tonight's host, Vicki. This. We opened the Dharma Temple 17 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. They're simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction. And our food redistribution program is every Thursday at 5 p.m. We have classes and programs every day, and everything we offer here is free. The full schedule is on our website and also posted in the entryway just above the computer rack. We have a lending library. If you see a book you like, feel free to borrow it and then bring it back whenever you are done with it. Please straighten your seat or cushion before you head out. If a few people could help stay and help close the windows, that would be wonderful. And thanks for being here.
Thank you all again. Hi. Sure. I can find one, but I can do that. If you could, take this chair down for me?
Yes.
And you need a signature too. Okay, sure. Okay, yeah, I have somebody else
Do this.
Very similar, because I've been to the, I don't know how you read it, Krishna?
Oh, Hare Krishna?
Oh, the Hare Krishna?
No, I haven't been anywhere for that practice.
There's a Hare Krishna temple in Pacific Beach
Yeah, I've been to that
that you
one.
have, yeah.
This is my first time here.
It's nice, huh?
Yeah, I needed guided meditation. Was it 80?